existing pipe coming off Greystone Way was not involved in we didn't use it for this subdivision. We knew it was there. We thought we knew where the easement should have gone, but we obviously got it wrong. We recently found out it was outside the easement, so we have we're asking for a replat to include that particular pipe in an easement. This lot is vacant, still owned by Alpha, so luckily it was caught in time. But that's basically the gist of it. If that answer any questions.
Is there any questions, Mr. Strickland? Mr. Duke, your comment, please.
We're agreeing with the replat. We would much rather see the pipe in the easement than not.
Thank you, Mr. Duke.
I'd like to move that the replat of Silver Hills Plat 18A be accepted as shown, is submitted. I'm sorry.
I'll second.
All right, it's been properly introduced in second. Any questions? If not, all in favor of the replat of Silver Hill Plat 18A, let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposed, like signs. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the replat of Premier Place Plat 4, location 1967 Car Ford Road. Owner is Chick-fil-A Incorporated. Pilgrim Engineering. Yes, sir.
I'm Martin Blevin, Pilgrim Engineering.
Any questions? Mr. Duke, your comment, please.
This replat corresponds to the development plan that was recently released for construction, the expansion of the existing Chick-fil-A. This replat contains all of the necessary easements to account for changing this from there are facilities that run across the common property that was Premier Place. Now dividing it into a separate lot, there are easements required, and all of those appear on this plat. So we're in agreement with the plat.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions, Mr. Duke? Do I hear a motion?
I move that the replat of Premier Place Plat Number 4 is adopted as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any questions? If not, all in favor of the replat of Premier Place Plat Number 4, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like signs. Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 4 is a replat, but we have a public hearing. Is it anyone here to attend the public hearing? The public hearing is now open. If you will, please come up and sign in. If you will, state your name and your address, sir.
Yes, I'm David Jocks. Me and my wife are here at 1021 Old Ridge Road. That's where we live. Our concerns with the ridge development is the road, the safety of the road where we are at. The development just means more people coming to the community, and we're already having wrecks right at our gate consistently. We had to get a breakaway mailbox because it stays down more than it stays up. And as the development grows, I would like this road to be addressed first. I believe the construction should be contingent to the road. If the road is not fixed, I've got a neighbor, Mr. CH, he has 20 horses, and it says 35, but it's curvy there. People keep going fast up and down that road, and we got a wreck every 6 months at our gate, our mailbox. It's our concrete. concrete, it's always something. And I couldn't imagine doubling or adding 200 homes or 400 homes, and that's continuing, this problem's gonna grow. I got to have the luxury to sit down with Mr. Duke, in the past weeks, for an hour or so, and he showed me some of the plans for Old Ridge Road, and I have, in front of our house, I went over him with our concerns in our community. It's like 1,100-foot difference than what his original plans are, but I think he's pretty much a proponent to what I have, what me and him went over. If he could look at these and if y'all could review them, I know changes are going to be made. I just want them to be, it's for public safety, it's for our safety, our kids, and community. You got kids going to the high school and you get more houses, you're going to have a lot more traffic and a lot more people flying down that road, and we're just concerned for our safety as well as the people driving. And if you could straighten up that road and go behind, right now's the time to get on it. It's good. You got empty land back there. It's pretty. If you don't get on it, you acquire right away now. There may be homes there later, but right now, if you get on it, you're ahead of the game. It could save people's lives and make the community, everybody would be a lot more safer.
Mm-hmm.
Can I show what I have and what I went over with Mr. Duke?
Yes, you have copies for the commissioners?
I do.
Yes, would you just pass them out to us, please?
Yes. I kept all the originals down there. If y'all want to look at, I got copies with me. I didn't bring them forward. If you want me to bring them up, I can.
If
I
you,
can get everybody one, or everybody can look at. Would you like me to go get all the copies now?
yes, if you will, and that way we can look at them.
Here's where I think here's where the development
My name is
is.
David Jones.
Does anyone have any questions, Mr.?
JCQUS.
All right, Mayor?
Thank you for coming down and showing all this to us. And might I ask, how long have you lived here on Old Ridge Road?
I've been there since 2001.
Okay. And I've been here I'm almost as old as dirt, so I've been up and down. I remember when Old Ridge Road was oh yeah, very,
It was dirt when I say.
and there's been a lot of accidents and everything else ever since, because I could tell you quite a few stories. Fortunately, I wasn't involved in any of them. But I have seen a lot of progress in this area, and there is going to be a lot more progress. And sometimes, and I realize, you might feel like we might be getting the cart before the horse, but I think this is actually, I think the horse is in front of the cart in this one. And I do, because sometimes you got to have the development, you got to have the people or the rooftops before you can get more funding, because all the funding that we have for infrastructure does not necessarily come from all of our coffers. Sometimes it's federal money, sometimes it's state monies, and if you can't show them what you already have or what the needs are, not the perceived needs, but the needs are. But I do appreciate you coming down, and I think that in time we will get there. I don't know how everybody else here is going to vote, but
If you look at it, where I got circled, it takes out that I guess you could say dog leg, basically straightens up the road.
Yes, sir.
Over that with Mr.
Mhm.
Gibbs. And I pray I wish that was in cement now. I know
Mhm.
the one ahead of it is
Mhm.
gonna happen, probably because of the construction that's taking place at the ridge.
right.
But the one around that's only 1,100 feet to continue.
Okay.
It's not much, just to continue it.
Well, now, one thing too that we have found out, at least in my opinion, like Greencrest, isn't it Greencrest? Straight and pretty, and straight and pretty is not always the best. Sometimes when you have some means of
I'm
flowing.
getting wrecks consistently, so
Right.
you're wrong at my road, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I got a
Well,
breakaway mailbox.
one-
I see people, I wake up at 12 at night, people hurt. So,
Okay.
no, not where I'm at, sir.
Well, I do appreciate you coming down and look forward to working with you in the
We
future.
got horses next door, 20 horses. I mean, more kids, people are gonna hit a horse potentially.
What?
They've escaped, they're gonna escape. That's just, you're in the country out there. It's trying to be
Yes.
city, but Mr. CH doesn't have horses, so I asked that y'all, look at that. I went over to Mr. Duke, he said he's looked at it, I don't think he's against it, I think he's a proponent to it, because it does straighten up the road. I know that construction, we're ahead of it now, you can apply a right of way now, it's a lot easier than doing it later. Would it be easier, it require a right of way for plan before that, than wait later, you go behind houses and not inconvenience the people, you wouldn't have mobilization, I mean, you wouldn't have traffic control, you wouldn't have to worry about, I mean, there's so much more in trying to wait later on that part if you're gonna okay the construction to this new part. That road is just a big deal to that road and that construction should be contingent to one another. If you can do it now, and you can see where it makes a big difference to the community.
I see your point, but in some cases, you have to get some progress moving forward
It's only 1,100 feet. That's it.
and funding for projects, so, but thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jock. Mayor? Is there anyone else to speak forward in the public hearing, for or against?
I didn't quite get a chance to come up and present the project, but,
This is for the public hearing now,
you want me to wait?
if you will.
You had to.
Right then, because you're the business. If, no other people to speak for the public hearing, well, I close the public hearing. Now, you may come up now.
Just kind of wanted to give this commission an update. Since we were here last, we have resubmitted construction drawings based on staff comments, actually just a couple of days after the last planning commission meeting. As far as I know, we've complied with each and every comment that the city staff had, and I have received no additional comments from the city at this point. So I believe our construction drawings are as close to what the city would want to see as possible.
You heard the public hearing, Mr. Jock, a few moments ago. Did anyone look at that, maybe try to entertain the comments that was made in the public hearing?
Could I see a copy of what was passed out?
Sure.
Yes, sir, I see that. If you will remember, Glenbrook, there is a master plan for Glenbrook subdivision. And at some point in the future, that master plan will continue to come before y'all. There has been a realignment of Old Ridge Road planned for some time that is going to, move forward at that point. That is a separate piece of property. It is a separate item. It really, I hate to say it exactly in this manner, but it doesn't have a lot of bearing on this particular subdivision, because the truth of the matter is Old Ridge Road is more than adequately capable of handling the traffic that is placed upon it today. These 200 lights and probably 2,000 more. That road is not any way encumbered with too much traffic. In my head, I have driven down there since the last planning commission meetings. I think the neighbors in that area are having more of a speed problem than a volume problem. And speed, to actually kind of reiterate what the mayor was talking about a moment ago, straight lining a road is not actually going to help your speed problem. Your speed problem is going to be helped by either traffic calming or actual, additional enforcement in the area, or reduction in speed limit and additional enforcement. The road itself has no problems handling this volume of traffic. And it is a significant amount of distance away from this project. And I just, we would love to continue to look at that alignment, but that is part of Glenbrook.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Mr. Duke?
It's not included in your books, but I'll put up here. Do you have a question about the overall
Master plan.
master plan? Subdivision itself, we are, I've got a couple of comments back from the departments about the model plans, but we're where we were at the last time this was brought up, and that we were okay with approval contingent upon minor issues being worked out. The design for the preliminary design that's been presented is acceptable with some minor corrections, which we'll need to work out. But that's standard. That's generally the way we end up working some of these preliminaries. The preliminary plat will change during construction at times, so that's a minor issue. The larger question is the one about Old Ridge Road, and the gentleman spoke to you, did come by, we did have a very long conversation. I thought it was a productive conversation. Certainly it's nice to identify folks that are interested in what's happening in their neighborhood, and certainly we'll have further conversations. This is very reminiscent of the conversation that I had with folks nearly 20 years ago when we started talking about the development of Highland Bridge off of McQueen-Smith Road, or Brookstone off of McQueen-Smith Road. Something needs to be done. The same is happening with the south end of McQueen-Smith Road. But what we find is that there's time to keep working both of these problems. We're not going to, I agree with Mr. Rice, we're not going to come close to stretching the capacity capabilities of Old Ridge Road for quite some time. There's a lot of houses planned in this area. We have to be aware of that. There's a good bit of vacant land. If when it develops, we will have some capacity issue. But we're far from that today. And we believe that we have a handle on what should be expected. As you know, this board has been very instrumental in making sure that we have a plan for the realignment of Old Ridge Road as it goes through Glenbrook subdivision. That's consistent with what we've done all the way up Old Ridge Road. As those pieces of property that are adjacent to it develop, and we acquire additional right of way, we acquire the turning lanes necessary to make it accommodate capacity needs on the road. That's the same approach we're going to have to take, barring actually going out and acquiring right of way, building the road. This is the approach that the city's going to have to take with the, let's just call it the western end of Old Ridge Road. As we see those properties come forward with sketch plans, we see them show up here to want to develop, they're going to have to match our requirements for that road. And what's been presented here by the residents, I think is certainly acceptable. We'll be looking to make alignment and capacity changes. And the adjacent properties, just like Stone Martin's had to do with Glenbrook, the adjacent properties will have to accommodate those. And it's not out of question that somewhere down the road, if those properties haven't developed and there's still there's a growing need, the city may have to do something. But at this point, capacity is not being stretched. The city has a program that very few neighborhoods have taken advantage of, and traffic calming and speed control, and this might be a good place for that to be looked at to try to deal with it. So at this point, I think the burden for trying to deal with Old Ridge Road has basically been accepted by Stone Martin where they can accept it. there's going to be some issues with Old Ridge Road down the road, looking in, that's something we're going to have to put that burden on those developing properties. And then there's going to be a section in there where we're going to have to decide what to do, where it's already developed 25 years ago, that may need some city help to get that accomplished. So, the short of it is that I think this plat is ready for approval today.
All right.
I'm sure you showed this to Mr. Jocks, right? Okay, so he's aware that there is a plan and,
Yes, ma'am. And I think, I enjoyed the discussion. It was good to hear about what they see in the neighborhood, and he's been there a long time resident. We see this all the time. We talk about it in our master plan about neighborhood preservation, trying to deal with these issues. It's a balancing act, and it's hard for the city to deal with some of these issues in growing areas. There's going to be increased traffic. People want to live in this area. That's going to bring more traffic. Just how we accommodate it in the long term is where we have to get better, and I think we are getting there. We've done a good job, in my opinion, on the eastern end of Old Ridge Road, where we see that traffic coming together towards Fairview Avenue. We've made really major improvements in traffic circles, better roadway, limited access. We're going to have to do the same thing in the rest of it.
All right. So, Mr. Duke, what you're saying is that we're going to continue to look at this as we move forward. The alignment, maybe.
Just like this board has for many years, trying to get out ahead of these pressing problems.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Carpenter, if you will, would you read the resolution in for me?
resolution preliminary plat, Ridge at Pratt Farms, Phase 1, September 15th, 2016. Whereas SMB Lands LLC is the developer of Ridge at Pratt Farms Phase 1, and whereas the property is located adjacent to Old Ridge Road and north of East Memorial Baptist Church, and whereas the proposed development is located in the city limits and zoned R3, and whereas the sketch plan formerly known as Patriot Farms was approved as revised on December 17th, 2015, and whereas a public hearing for the proposed preliminary plat was heard on September 15th, 2016, and whereas the required city department heads have reviewed and commented on the proposed preliminary plat. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby gives its favorable review of the submitted preliminary plat of Ridge at Pratt Farms Phase 1. So moved.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor of this resolution, Ridge at Pratt Farm Phase 1, let it be known by raising your right hand. Opposed, like signs. Mr. Duke, do you have any more business for us? If not, thank you very much. Planning is closed.